Man, I came here to win rings, not babysit anyone.
On January 13th, the Los Angeles Lakers weren't just losing to the Sacramento Kings, they appeared to be losing control. The final score read 124-112, but that wasn't what truly captured attention. According to insiders, while fans were still processing the defeat, tension was already building behind the scenes. Reports suggested that a heated confrontation erupted in the tunnel after the game, allegedly involving Rich Paul and the agent representing Austin Reaves. The dispute was
One.
If I was the Lakers, I would probably be targeting the Memphis Grizzlies as a trade partner for Jaren Jackson.
Yeah, that'd be a great fit.
I would.
For whom?
One scenario, right? Or you could say, let me withhold that. But this comes with
Austin Reaves.
This comes with a very unemotional attachment.
The tension reportedly didn't end with that exchange. Sources claimed there was also friction brewing between LeBron James and head coach J.J. Redick in the corridors behind the scenes. Frustrated veterans were said to be pointing fingers, with some allegedly blaming Bronny as the root of the growing issues. What had started as a single loss quickly began to feel like something deeper. The locker room atmosphere reportedly shifted almost overnight. One game, one defeat, and suddenly the foundation felt shaky. According to people close to the situation, the spark may have traced back to a message Bronny allegedly sent in the team group chat, one that supposedly changed the mood inside the building entirely. Before getting to that reported text, it's important to revisit the game itself. On paper, it was just another regular season loss. Defensive breakdowns, missed assignments, and poor rotations allowed the Kings to capitalize. The Lakers looked out of sync from start to finish. But as players walked toward the tunnel, observers noticed a different kind of energy. Body language appeared stiff, there was little eye contact, and none of the usual post-game conversation. While locker room tension typically stays private, multiple reports, including coverage from ESPN's Dave McManaman, suggested that frustration was visible. Austin Reaves representative Reggie Berry was reportedly waiting in the tunnel, and it wasn't for small talk. Seeing two prominent player agents engaged in a heated discussion before players even reached the locker room is far from routine. It signaled something serious. The stakes make it even more significant. Reaves is approaching a potential max extension reportedly valued near $200 million, a contract that could shape his legacy and financial future.
Traded me to the worst franchise in NBA history.
They're going to move on, and I think that's the right thing to do. At some point, you got to turn the team over to Luka and Austin, and that's the only way you can start, because you can't be paying him $50 million a year to be the third best player on a team.
I wanted Luka to be the first signee of Team LeBron when he was going through his situation. And it didn't happen. He's still under the same umbrella of Nike's with Jordan, but
The $10 million involved was significant, franchise-changing, and potentially legacy-defining for Austin Reaves. According to League Whispers, Reaves' camp was furious over accusations that Rich Paul had been quietly pushing moves behind the scenes that could damage Reaves' standing, all to ensure that Bronny James kept his place in the rotation. This wasn't viewed as simple office politics. It was seen as a battle over the future direction of the team. At first glance, it might seem confusing how Bronny factors into this, especially since Reaves had been dealing with injuries and wasn't fully active. However, insiders suggested the issue wasn't about minutes in a single game, but about long-term positioning, who gets developed, who gets showcased, and who is promoted as the next cornerstone. When that level of money and influence is involved, agents rarely play nice. The reported near altercation between representatives in the tunnel may have been just the visible layer of a deeper conflict. Behind closed locker room doors, the drama allegedly escalated further. Reports claimed that LeBron James confronted head coach J.J. Redick about a clause buried in his agreement with the Los Angeles Lakers, something Luka was reportedly never meant to know about. To understand why tensions reached that point, you have to rewind to November 15th, when the Lakers faced the Milwaukee Bucks. On the surface, it looked like a big night. Luka erupted for 41 points. The Lakers secured the win, and headlines celebrated the performance. But the box score didn't tell the whole story. Bronny started that game, logging 10 minutes while going 0 for 2 with 0 points and minimal impact. On a championship contender, every possession and every minute carries weight. Critics pointed out that while Luka, at 26 and in his prime, was operating at an MVP level, the lineup around him needed to function seamlessly. During Bronny's stretches on the court, the team's net rating reportedly dipped sharply. Even in victory, the Lakers appeared to be surviving those minutes rather than thriving in them. According to insiders, that game marked a breaking point for Redick. Frustration boiled over on the sidelines, with reports that he urged Bronny to take an open shot.
It's gonna haunt me a little bit.
It's gonna haunt you.
But I wanted him to be my guy. I wanted him to be my first guy.
Hey.
The 10, the money. If the balance first started to crack on November 15th, it explains why January 13th erupted into total chaos. When long-term player development collides with championship expectations, someone is bound to feel betrayed. And in this case, it wasn't subtle. It was loud, public, and messy. After the game against the Milwaukee Bucks, something shifted permanently. When J.J. Redick saw the Bucks repeatedly target Bronny on defense, his coaching instincts kicked in. Development is one thing, winning is another. In that moment, he realized he couldn't protect a long-term project while also closing out a tight game, a brutal position for any coach. The tension only intensified after an interview that blew everything open. Luka clearly stated that he was focused on winning championships, not babysitting anyone, adding that if a player needed development, the G League was the place for it. That straightforward comment reportedly split the locker room in half. LeBron James wasn't even active that night due to sciatica, but sources claim he confronted Redick afterward, not calmly or casually, but with emotion and protection. The dispute wasn't just about rotations anymore. It became Team Luka versus Team Clutch, and everyone inside the Los Angeles Lakers could feel the divide. According to rumors, Rich Paul quickly realized that if Luka publicly resisted the development plan, LeBron's influence inside the organization would weaken. Instead of suggesting an obvious move like trading Bronny, which would signal failure, Paul allegedly shifted tactics. On January 13th, the night the Lakers lost to the Sacramento Kings, Paul went on his Game Over podcast and framed Austin Reeves as an asset, a term implying he was movable or replaceable. He argued that if the Lakers wanted to improve Luka's defensive support, they might consider flipping Reeves for a defensive anchor like Jaren Jackson Jr. On the surface, it sounded like strategy, but insiders interpreted it as pressure. Fall in line or your closest ally could be moved. This psychological maneuver, according to critics, was designed to isolate Luka and remind him that relationships were conditional and that certain power still resided with others in the organization. This alleged dynamic fueled the heated tunnel confrontation between Rich Paul and Reggie Barry, as Reeves's camp refused to let their client become leverage in the internal struggle. The situation ran even deeper than minutes and rotations. Months earlier, a single leaked team group chat message from Bronny reportedly shifted Luka's trust entirely. That message allegedly revealed internal information before it was meant to be public. To understand why this hit so hard, one has to go back to February 1, 2025, the day the Luka for Anthony Davis trade became official. The front office had planned for players to be informed privately and professionally, but before that could happen,
Draymond Green basically turned into a Clutch PR bot overnight, trashing Stephen A. Smith on his podcast.
let's talk numbers, because numbers don't lie. LeBron's usage rate dipped to around 28%. For a role player, that's normal. For LeBron, though, that was a public demotion, the basketball equivalent of being told, "You're not the engine anymore." And for someone who built an empire on being the engine, that hits deep. Instead of quietly embracing the shift and letting a 26-year-old superstar take the wheel, the media narrative changed fast. Every post-game press conference turned into a subtle campaign. LeBron leaned into the mic, talking about sacrifice, about how he's adjusting, about how he's bending his game for the team. It started sounding less like leadership and more like a reminder tour. The subtext was clear. Luka is scoring 33 a night, but only because I'm allowing it. That energy started spreading, and that's dangerous when the locker room is already split. Then came the quote that really set things on fire. After tensions with JJ Redick were already bubbling, LeBron went on ESPN and said, "If we're depending on a 41-year-old to be our best defender, we're in trouble." That wasn't random commentary. It felt pointed. Saying that publicly while Luka is carrying the offense and playing heavy minutes lands like criticism. It sounds like you're questioning the defensive effort of the league's MVP-level guy while cameras are rolling. That's not subtle. That's strategic. During that stretch, Bronny's defensive rating hovered around 120, not elite. He was playing limited minutes, about 7 or 8 per game, and opponents were attacking him consistently. Yet the media heat wasn't aimed there. It was aimed upward. Luka is logging 38 minutes, carrying the scoring load, absorbing pressure, and still hearing passive shots from the podium. That builds resentment fast, especially when criticism feels selective. Then, March 6, 2025 happened at Madison Square Garden, and the tension spilled into public view. Stephen A. Smith had criticized Bronny's performance on First Take. Standard analysis, harsh maybe, but part of the job. During a Lakers-Knicks game, LeBron walked toward him courtside mid-game. Cameras caught the exchange. Words were exchanged. Security shifted closer. The energy wasn't playful. It was intense. It felt personal.